Hi.
Hello guys, if you're brand new to my channel, my name is Nikki and this is my book nook. Today I am doing my July wrap up for y'all. This month, this summer, this entire year has just been a blur. It's so weird, but this month unintentionally was the month of romance for me. I read so many romance books. All the summer vibes I was trying to get in before summer's up. I know August is still technically summer, but for me, it feels like it's fall. It's back to school, even though I'm old and don't do that anymore. It just feels like the end of summer. So all the books that I was waiting to read for summer, I tried to get in this month. But as always, I just want to go through all the books, talk to you guys about them, give them my thoughts, my star rating, all the things. So yeah, let's just get started. So the first book I read in the month of July to kick off all the summer vibes, to get me ready for my own vacation, was People We Meet on Vacation by Emily Henry. This book had been so talked about, but it was just one that I wasn't that excited about because it is a friends to lovers, which is not something I usually go for. But oh my god, guys, I adored this book. I loved it so much. This book follows Alex and Poppy. They meet their first week of college and they literally couldn't be more different from each other. Poppy is super like spontaneous, fun, loves to travel. Alex is just very like clean cut, knows what he wants in life, straight lace, stays in his lane, but like somehow they end up becoming the best of friends, and it just becomes a thing that every summer they go on a vacation together. They take a summer trip, and in this story we're seeing over the years them going on these various summer trips, but now present day Poppy and Alex are no longer friends. They haven't talked in a long time and they're now reuniting because Alex's brother is getting married. So they get together to do another summer trip, but throughout the entire book you're seeing their like present day tension. Clearly something happened between them and we're trying to figure out like what it was over time, like in the past. It was just so good. It was so cute. I found Poppy to just be so relatable, and Alex, like I just like absolutely fell in love with him. Alex just like has my heart. He's everything. Like it's just such a cute story, especially for summer. Like get it in before August is up. This book, I loved it so much. I gave it 5 stars. Like I said, friends to lovers is not normally for me, but this one just like couldn't have done it more perfectly, and I was obsessed with it. Next, I read The Deal by Elle Kennedy. This is the first book in the Off-Campus series. Another book I have heard so much about. People are absolutely obsessed with this series. My like favorite YouTuber right now is Steph Bower. I'm sure all you guys watch her. She's literally like the biggest booktuber right now, but this is her favorite series of all time. She always recommended it, but again, I didn't really want to read it because it's like a hockey romance. Like the whole series like focuses on different hockey players and their relationships, and I'm just like, I know nothing about hockey, but if you are that person too and you've avoided reading it so far because you like, I don't know anything about hockey, it's fine. You'll be fine. It's a big part of the story, but like you don't need knowledge of hockey. Like just, it's hot guys playing sports. You get the basic concept. But this story follows Garrett Graham and Hannah Wells. Garrett is the star of the hockey team at Briar University. He is the captain, and the story starts out, he is in class and he has absolutely bombed this test. Everybody in this class bombed it except for Hannah. He notices that she aced the test, so he's like, hey, whoa, I need you to tutor me. And she's like, no, I don't have time, sorry, not gonna do it. And he's like flabbergasted that someone would reject him. I'm Garrett Graham, like, excuse me, you're telling me no? So he's like super persistent, trying to get her to tutor him, and she's not having it. And then finally Garrett notices Hannah making eyes at this guy Justin that plays on the football team, and once he realizes that she's into him, he's like, okay, we're gonna make a deal. I am going to fake date you basically to get Justin to be interested in you. If you're unattainable, he will want you. That's how boys' brains work apparently, and you're gonna tutor me, and this is a win-win and it'll all work out. So she ends up agreeing, and of course, as things go, like Garrett ends up catching feels. This is literally on the back of the book, so it's not a spoiler, but like yeah, like tensions rise and they made this deal, but like they get closer, and both of them had really traumatic things happen to them in their childhood, so you get to see them like bond and grow closer over that. And it's just a super cute story. It's super steamy. It's really short, quick read, impossible to put down. This was a 4.5 stars for me. Absolutely loved it. I'm really excited to continue the series. I bought the next book, so I'll definitely be reading that in the month of August. Next, because I'm obnoxious and it was my birthday, I read Birthday Girl by Penelope Douglas. Y'all know at this point, Penelope Douglas is my favorite author. I'm just gonna call it right then and there. Like every book she writes is just so good. Her stuff is not for everyone. It pushes every boundary you possibly can. It's very like dark often or just taboo. Like there's some element to it that's very scandalous always, but her storytelling is just like, you forget you're reading a book, you get so close to the characters, you're so attached, it's impossible to put down. I just absolutely love Penelope Douglas's writing. So this story follows a girl named Jordan. She is dating this guy Cole. They've been friends for years and years, but they finally end up dating each other. They've been together for a while now, and Jordan and Cole end up coming into some money trouble. They get kicked out of their apartment, so they go to stay with Cole's dad temporarily until they get back on their feet. Whenever Jordan meets Cole's dad, she realizes that she has actually met him before this moment. They didn't date, they didn't hook up, nothing too crazy, but like they met on a night previously and they shared this moment, shared this connection. There was some sort of attraction there, but she had no idea that it was her boyfriend's dad. He didn't know that she was his son's girlfriend. Like they didn't know, and now they're all living under one roof together, and things just get a little wild. This book is so tense, so angsty. It's an age gap romance, but it's not too crazy. The dad in the book is only like 38. He had Cole whenever he was a teenager, so it's not like some 65-year-old man. Don't stress if you're worried about that. But Pike is the dad's name. He cares so much for Jordan. I said in my review of this book, if you want to go watch it, the setting of this, it's very small town. It reminded me so much of the setting of True Blood. If you've watched that show, like Bon Temps, that reminded me so much of this town because it's just such a small town. Everybody knows everyone. Jordan works at a bar, and like Pike works for a construction company, and I got total True Blood vibes from it. Obviously no vampires are involved, but just the small townness and the mentality and how everybody knows everybody, and like the bar setting reminded me of Merlot's. Like it was just super, super good. Not at all what I expected. Penelope Douglas has a way of, like, every book that she writes, like I said, is very scandalous, pushes the envelope, but she does it in like the most wholesome way that she can, and the storytelling always is just like beautiful, and you just fall for the characters, and it's great. But yeah, boyfriend's dad, if you're into that. I'm gonna be super annoying. I gave this book 4.25 stars. It's not my like absolute favorite Penelope Douglas book, but I really loved it and would totally recommend it to everyone. Just do it. If you're thinking about doing it, just do it. No one's gonna judge you. I encourage it. Next, I read my Colleen Hoover book of the month. Y'all know, if you've watched my videos, I'm obsessed with Colleen Hoover, and I'm reading one of her books a month because I don't want to run out of them. I'm gonna be really sad when I do. This month, I read Heart Bones because, again, sticking with the summer vibes, this book is a summer romance. This story follows a girl named Bea. Her parents were never together. She was the result of a one-night stand, so she hasn't ever really had a relationship with her dad. She sees him like every year or so, but the last few years especially, like, they just haven't talked. He lives in another state. They don't have a relationship. But the book starts out and Bea's mom has overdosed. She's been a drug addict like her whole life. Bea lives in like really a not good situation. She lives in a trailer park, and it's just, everything's a mess. But her mom, yeah, has passed away, so Bea has nowhere to go for the summer. She has a volleyball scholarship that she's gonna be starting in August, but until then she has nowhere to go. So she calls up her dad and asks if she can come and stay with him for the summer, and he says yes, absolutely, flies her out. And when she gets out there, he actually lives in Texas, in Galveston, and I'm from Houston, which was cool to see because, like, you know, I recognize the setting. It was kind of fun. But her dad is now wealthy. He's remarried. He has a stepdaughter that Bea kind of ends up befriending, but they are living in this beach house in Texas, and next door is this boy named Samson, and Bea and Samson end up having like an interaction before they meet and realize that they are neighbors. But it's, again, I don't want to say it's an enemies to lovers. I feel like that term is so overused, but they do get off to like a very rough start when they initially meet each other, and they slowly kind of form this bond. Bea is a very interesting character because she's very kind of like negative. She's very hardened. She's very judgmental of anybody that has any type of wealth, just because she's just come from a really bad situation. Samson is very closed off and private, just doesn't open up to many people, and so him and Bea end up kind of forming this connection. But both of them have commitments at the end of the summer. Like I said, Bea's going to college, Samson is going into the military, so they agreed to just kind of have like a no strings attached summer romance. And you know how it goes, feelings become had, and as Colleen Hoover always does, there's a fat plot twist in this, and it'll stab you in the gut. It was very good. It's not my favorite Colleen Hoover book ever. I actually gave it 3.5 stars, but if you like Colleen Hoover, if you want a quick summer romance, like, read it. You'll love it. It's just not, it's not my absolute favorite, but I'm definitely glad I read it in the summer. If you're going to the beach, it's a great beach read. But yeah. Speaking of beach reads, y'all know I said I loved People We Meet on Vacation by Emily Henry so much. I adored it. I gave it 5 stars. So I was even more excited to read Beach Read, this book. So talked about. This was Emily Henry's first book. It's what put her on the map. People seem to be so obsessed with this, and I couldn't have been more disappointed. I brought it with me on a beach vacation, specifically to read on the beach, and it is the most misleading title of any book ever created. Nothing about this is beachy. Nothing about this is summery. I made like a 15-minute video ranting about how much I was disappointed by this book because it was literally my most disappointing read of 2021 so far. I gave it 1.5 stars, but basic summary of this book is it follows a girl named January. Her dad has just passed away and he leaves behind this lake house for January to go and stay at. January is a writer. She's struggling with writer's block, so she decides to go to this lake house and try to write another book. She's struggling, she's running out of money, and her next door neighbor ends up being this guy that she went to college with. It's advertised that it's like her arch nemesis from college, but in reality they were just kind of acquaintances that were competitive with each other because they were both writers. So he's also suffering from writer's block, so they basically decide to switch genres. She's a romance writer and he is like a Stephen King kind of writer. It's just kind of like literary fiction, but it's got some creepy elements to it. It's not quite sci-fi, whatever. You get the point. So they decide to switch genres, and a part of doing this is every weekend they're gonna take each other on these like research outings. So she basically takes him on like cute dates to like research for romance, and he takes her on like the normal excursions he would do for his type of writing. So like interviewing people, site visits, lots of like weird things. But I just, in the end, I found this book to be so boring. I wanted to put it down so many times, but I was determined to finish it because I love People We Meet on Vacation so much. I just didn't care for the characters. I thought that it was fairly predictable. Nothing wild or crazy happened. I thought January as a character was super whiny. I'm not gonna go on and on. Y'all can watch my rant if you really care, but I gave it 1.5 stars. I simply would not recommend this, especially not if you're trying to get summer vibes, because it will not do that for you. So yeah, I started rereading the Twilight series last month just because I wanted to. Like, that is the series that made me fall in love with reading. I say this over and over. I read it for the first time whenever I was 8, but I had just been wanting to reread it because I find myself still comparing like every book, the way it makes me feel, to the way I felt the first time I read Twilight. I had already been rereading the series and like I was planning to take my time with it, but then all the movies got put on Netflix and literally my entire TikTok feed is Twilight. So I was just like so in the mood, and I'm like, I'm gonna read New Moon now. New Moon was always my least favorite book in the series. Like, I am a Team Edward through and through type of girl. This book just always made me like super sad. I was missing Edward. I love Jacob as a friend, but like I was never Team Jacob. So like I'm always this whole book like, okay, just trying to get through it so we can get back to Edward. I've only really read this one, I think, like 2 times. The rest of the series I've read so many times it's embarrassing. But I will say, rereading this like now as a 24-year-old, I feel like I appreciated it a lot more. It's so interesting now, like going back and rereading this, because like there's so many signs that Jacob is a werewolf. Like, it's so obviously now because we know, and I've seen the movies a million times, I've read the books, but it's like I just remember the first time I read this like having no idea what was gonna happen, and I just love it. It's so good. I actually cried my eyes out whenever Edward broke up with Bella. Reading this, even though I already knew, it just, God, that pain, like it hurts, man. But yeah, reread New Moon, love this series. I don't even want to rate Twilight because I feel like it's not fair, but I would give New Moon a 4.25 star personally. It's still my least favorite, I feel, of the series for sure. Eclipse is my favorite, so I'm so excited to read that one next. But yeah, so the next book I've been wanting to read for a while, and I really thought I was gonna like it, but I actually DNF'd it. Y'all gotta tell me, like, I'm open to finishing it eventually, but I just think I wasn't personally vibing with it. It's Renegades by Marissa Meyer. This story is interesting. Unlike anything I've read before, it's about superheroes. It gave me major like Incredibles vibes, like the movie Incredibles from Pixar. In this world, at some point, this guy named Ace Anarchy like took over the city, I guess, and his group of villains that helped him were called the Anarchists, but then these heroes emerged. They're people that have special powers, special abilities. Basically, the good guys are called the Renegades, the bad guys are called the Anarchists, and I guess the Renegades took the city back at some point, but now it's still like anarchists versus the renegades sort of situation. And this story follows a girl that is actually like on the villain side, and it also follows this guy who is like trying to become a renegade, and they each have like these alter egos. Like the girl that's on the bad side, she's trying to infiltrate the renegades, so she's gonna like audition as a renegade under a secret identity. And then the guy is like a superhero posing as a different superhero, but is also his own superhero. And then obviously they're both like real humans, and nobody knows who anybody is, but they're like crushing on each other, but they don't realize that they are like the villain and the hero. And yeah, I feel like it's maybe like a little too YA for me. It's weird because it's YA, but it's also like very violent at times, that I feel like it's like not very child appropriate. But I don't know, if y'all have read this book, tell me. I got this far in and I just was not feeling it. I feel like something about it that's like weird to me is that it's in third person perspective, so we know what's going on, but the characters don't. And I just feel like it's kind of like obvious, and I don't know, maybe I just need to get farther, but I just wasn't vibing, so I put it down and picked up something else. But y'all let me know. And the last book I read this month, I went back to my queen. Y'all already know, Penelope freaking Douglas. This book has been the book of hers that I have been the most excited to read. Y'all know the Devil's Night series is my everything. I love that series with everything in me, but this has been my favorite book of Penelope Douglas's. Besides the Devil's Night, I don't know, maybe even Dude. I loved it so much. This book, whenever I tell y'all what it's about, if you don't know, you're gonna be like, oh my God. But just trust me, it's so good, and it's just worth it. This is Credence. It is about this girl. She is the daughter of these two celebrities. Her parents end up passing away suddenly, and she has to go live with her only remaining relative, which happens to be her dad's stepbrother. She has never met him. She doesn't know him at all. He lives in Colorado. His name is Jake, and he has two sons. So the uncle and the cousins are not related to her in any way. Like, Jake is a stepbrother to, her name is Tiernan. It's a very interesting name. Tiernan's dad's stepbrother. Like, not related by blood at all, but yeah. So she goes to live with them. They live in like the mountains in Colorado where it gets snowed in 6 months out of the year. This is like kind of like a wake-up call for Tiernan, because she has lived in this house with these parents that kind of like ignored her whole life, and they were super rich, and now she's like living on this mountain where they have to like hunt and like work, and they have a farm and just like things that she's not used to. And there's no, I just gotta jump to it. Basically the uncle and the two cousins all form a different sort of attraction to her, and they all want her, and it's a wild ride. It's a wild ride. It's Penelope Douglas. You know, things get spicy, but like I said earlier, she does these things in the most wholesome way possible. And like, when you read the back of this book, like I figured like, okay, I know how this story's gonna go. It was nothing like I thought it was gonna be. I loved it so much. Like, genuinely, there's like a super interesting storyline there. Like, just things you never see coming. I felt myself, because it's like the dad and the two cousins. The dad, again, is not super old. He's like maybe 40 at the oldest, I can't remember, but he wasn't super old. But like, I found myself at different points of the book like rooting for each of them separately, but there was one from the beginning that I was like, oh, my heart, but like I kept jumping back and forth. But by halfway through, I had picked one, and I was like, I don't want to spoil it, but I'll have a full review coming out on this in like a day or two. I haven't filmed it yet because I just finished this book, but so freaking good. 5 stars. Penelope Douglas is absolutely wild, and I'm gonna be so sad whenever I run out of her books to read. She's forever writing, so she better keep forever writing, because she's my favorite author. She is insane. But yes, that is all the books I read this month. I only finished 7 books, which is like pretty low for me, but honestly, I'm okay with it, because I have been super inspired in other areas of my life. I've been writing a ton, which has been amazing, and I've been working on videos a lot, and I've been on vacation, and you know, it's July. It's not a contest to see who can read the most books at all times. I'm just chilling. I'm having a great time. I hope y'all are having a great time. Let me know down below what your favorite book you read this month was. If you've read any of these books, let me know your thoughts on them. But yeah, that is it for me today. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will talk to y'all very soon. Bye.